All right, cool. We're gonna get started. Yeah, this is a very pertinent topic because, oh man, there's so much going on. I mean, we're just exposed to toxins so much in our lifestyle, and our purpose is to really get you guys as healthy as possible, and for ourselves too. I mean, this is stuff that we live for our family as well. So everything that I'm going to talk to you about tonight, we're already doing it, and it's stuff that we're learning. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that I learned just by going through this PowerPoint and learning and going through all the resources that we have. So there's going to be a lot of information. Here's the thing though, is that sometimes when we do the detox talks, especially, it can be like being fed by a fire hose. So imagine you wanted just a little drink of water and someone was spraying you with a full-on hose. That can be overwhelming, and you're only going to get a little bit of information. So as you're taking notes, and don't worry, we're going to have this is recorded. We're going to put this up on YouTube later. Pick 1 or 2 or 3 things that you're going to change in the next few days. And then the second thing is this, is that don't allow the Lodi monster to get you. So Lodi means L-O-D-I, the law of diminishing intent. Basically means that if you don't start to enact changes within about 3 days, basically they're not going to happen. So let's just start. The average person is exposed to 2.1 million toxins daily. So about 70,000 chemicals are used commercially, 3,000 to our food supply, 10,000 chemicals are used in like preserving, storage, food processing, and even, with the lockdowns and everything that's going on over the last year, did you know that the inside of your house is at minimum 5 to 100 times more toxic than the outside? So just right there, getting outside, having some kind of air filter, and we'll talk about that, but realizing that inside of your house is the problem. And that can be a scary thought because we all know about chemical pollutants and the pesticides in the air and the commercial farming, especially in Lancaster County. But right off the bat, it's the inside of your house, the inside of your body that we have to worry about. So toxins are found your food, your water, environment, and one of the big ones, especially for women, is cosmetics. So the cosmetics, what you're putting on your face, like you notice, like you put, I know I'm talking about this, but you put lip gloss on in like a couple hours, where does it go? Went into your body. The containers is a big one. And that was something that I've been learning about recently. Like I thought I knew about containers, but even just how you're covering the tops that you're using, like there's always another level that you can go with this. And then the cleaners, the good news with this is a lot of this stuff is so readily available, and it makes it easy in that you can do it yourself at home, or now you can buy a lot of this stuff at local grocery stores and things like that. The effects of toxicity are very real. One thing that really hit me when preparing for this is how it depletes our enzymes in our body, especially our digestive enzymes. So it can affect how you digest your food. It can affect how your body is dealing with toxins in your liver, your pancreas, your major organ systems, and how they play a role in detoxing your body. So what can happen is think of an analogy like a bucket. And you have a bucket, and every drop that goes into the bucket is more toxicity into the body. If that bucket overflows, that would lead to symptoms. So the symptoms are not necessarily the problem, just like we say with chiropractic. Your back pain isn't necessarily the problem, it's an indicator of the problem. So for example, you can read some of the major symptoms here, whether it's cancer, memory loss, heart issues, immune system issues, asthma and allergies or lung damage, headaches, neurological problems, vomiting and nausea, brittle hair and nails. That is a major sign that you can be worried about. The problem is that when we turn to more of a toxin or another chemical, such as a medication, you're just kind of adding on to that bucket. Unfortunately, we can't necessarily stop all of the drops from happening because we're so exposed to these toxins. The goal is to slow it down as much as possible. and then to empty your bucket as much as we can. And even with babies, like children being born in the world now, with all the toxins that is already inside of mom and inside of the environment, in the air that we breathe, the water that we drink, the food that we eat, that baby is being born with the bucket almost full, and that can start to spill over. And when it starts to spill over, you can see a lot of childhood issues, especially to do with the gut, cognition, ADHD. This is a really interesting statistic, and I've shared this a few times, is that 95% of all cancer is attributed to lifestyle and environmental toxicity. And this kind of flies in the face. I mean, we're starting to get this more and more as a culture, but this flies in the face of the traditional thought that it's genetic. And I had a patient recently, and I could see where she was coming from, because I'm telling her, like, she's a new patient, and I'm telling her, you know, XYZ is going on with your spine. This is what's going on with your gut. We're kind of getting to the root cause of the problems. And it's kind of human nature to want to not take responsibility. And I get that. Like, I've been a teenager and in my 20s before, right? But what can happen is we just default to the answer, which is, well, isn't it genetic? And what you're kind of saying is, like, is it really my fault? Am I responsible for all of this? And the hard truth, the hard answer is yes. But the good news here, that's the bad news. Here's the good news. The good news is, because it's your fault, because it's up to you, because 95% of this is the lifestyle that we live, the good news is it can be fixed. Because it can be sometimes easier just to say, oh, it's genetic, there's nothing I can do about it, meaning it's not my fault that it happened. But when you play the victim in that, there's no empowerment. There's no power to that. So you have a power in your body to heal. You also have a power in your body to choose. So I'm going to be talking about exiting conventional, or exiting convention, which basically means is that conventional thinking is the biggest one. And, you know, unless you've been sleeping under a rock this last year, conventional thinking has kind of been spinning us around in circles. Kind of when I look at this graphic, I see all the swirls and stuff. There's a lot of confusion out there, you know, whether it's with vaccines, whether it's with masks, whether it's with shutdowns. There's so much conflicting information. There's so much conflicting data and statistics. It just drives you crazy. So the saying I like to say is, don't wait for the government to change, or don't wait for the government to not allow a certain chemical in foods or in plastics or in cookware. We have to stop it ourselves. So we need to exit the conventional way of thinking, which the first one is realizing, okay, this is my fault, in an empowering way, in that I can start to make changes. And then the second thing is that I can start to take specific action steps. So realizing it's like taking responsibility, then starting to take action steps that go beyond the current recommendations of the conventional world. Because when you start to make these changes, you start going to the chiropractor and you're getting adjusted, and you start living differently, start talking differently, you start thinking differently, you start eating differently, you're going to get questioned. People are going to test you, because it's a human nature thing where it's basically they're saying, are you really serious about this? Is this something you're really changing? And so it can be at a family event. I mean, I'm sure you've all been there before. Maybe you're at church talking about going to the chiropractor, talking about the food change that you're making, and someone questions you. And for a lot of us, the first couple times that it happens, it like rocks us, right? And you got to stay strong in this stuff. And what I mean by that is, I was given great advice at a younger age. It's biblical. It's like, don't throw your pearls to the swine. It sounds like a pretty harsh quote, but it's true, because when you are just starting out something new, you may not want to share it with everyone. Later in the talk, I'm going to be talking about mindset and the type of frame of mind that you can put yourself in, or others can put themselves in. And you'll kind of get to see the type of people you'll want to share this information to, because they're going to be excited for you and empowering. So in the start, get your, have your base, have your tribe. We're here to help and support you. And eventually you'll be able to influence your circle. All right, so let's get into the top toxins. Right off the bat, I want to talk about cleaners, because this is huge. I mean, I remember, growing up, and you smell the toxic stuff. By the way, when I was preparing for this, there's another doctor who gave some good advice, and his wife is a lawyer. So they made sure to emphasize not to name brands, or at least show them on the slide. So I'm not going to be naming a ton of brands, but you'll get the idea. You know, the blue liquid, the green liquid. Right off the bat, if you're seeing like soaps that are green or cleaning products that are blue or yellow or red, right away it's like, okay, those have dyes in them, right? The thing that was crazy to me is that many, right away, the first one was oven cleaner has formaldehyde in it. Oven cleaner. So when you're, one of the most toxic substances you can have in your house typically is oven cleaner, because it's like a major degreaser. It's a major detergent. Like it's going to cause can be an issue. One of the easiest things to do for cleaners is you can buy the good brands like Seventh Generation or Ecos or Myers. By the way, we have lists of all kinds of brands that we like, and I'll show you that at the end. One of the easiest things to do is to use equal parts water and equal parts vinegar. Equal parts water, equal parts vinegar, maybe a little bit of like natural detergent. That's one of the best things that you can do to really to decrease things. Really, another one is just getting a really good quality cloth. Many of you have heard of Norwex. Norwex, they've amazing microfiber cloths. Of course, I don't have one here. But they're just like the physical, you can clean things chemically, but you can also clean things physically as well. So we had a rep come out once to the office. What she did was she took raw chicken on a cutting board, and then she had a little tester strip that tested the amount of bacteria. And let's just say, for the sake of this, that the reading came back at 100. So she sprayed the cleaner on it, wiped it down just like we normally would, and it came down to like 5. Then she took the raw chicken, different, plate, put it all on there again, tested it, came in as 100. She took the Norwex cloth just in water, in warm water, and rubbed it about the same amount of time, tested it again, and it came down to 5 or even a little lower. So you can chemically kill and remove toxins and germs and things like that. You can also physically remove them. So Norwex is a great one. So things to watch out for. Again, we'll have this in a list. If you're seeing things like formaldehyde, chlorine, ammonia, and another one called PERC, or perchloroethylene, not good for you. Ethylene from ether, not good to breathe that stuff in. If ever you're seeing like on the label where it has the big warning sign, don't mix these solvents and bleaches together, that's because they react and they're not good for your body. All right, the other big one are disinfectants. And I mean, we're using this stuff all the time. Hand sanitizer. So if you look at this picture, the hand sanitizer is green because it has dyes in it. Usually has yellow number 5 or blue number 4. It has fragrances, which are known as volatile organic acids. And then propylene glycol, which makes it that jelly type substance. That's also known as antifreeze. So that can, when you rub it in your hands, like you take hand sanitizer, you put it on the wall back here, rub it on the wall. Where does it go? It just stays on the wall. You put it on your hands, within a few seconds, magically it goes into your body, just like lotion or cosmetics or anything like that. Where did it go? Well, they're finding that can show up in your blood, can show up in your kidneys. It can also show up in your liver. So your body has to detox this. It has to deal with it. So you're adding another stress to your body. The other thing it does, if you have dry hands like me, it really dries your hands out. It removes the good bacteria or the good cultures that are on your hands. Now, I'm obviously in a profession where like using hand sanitizer is necessary right now, and I do use it between each patient. We use a brand called EO. So it just stands for essential oil. You can get that right on Amazon. I think they had them at Giant too, but it's just called EO spray. If you just type in EO spray into Google, you'll be able to find that. We use it. It's like CDC and EPA and all that approved that it does kill germs. It uses an organic ethanol, which is from organic corn. And it also contains lavender essential oil. So it helps to soothe your hands. So I spray that up to, 100 times a day, and I'm wiping on my hands. I don't have chapped hands because of that. And if I were to use like the regular hand sanitizer, it's just like not good for my hands. All right, this is going to be fun. I learned something new. This is called a QR code. I've seen them around. So if you have a phone on you, everybody take out your phone. And I'm going to teach you how to use this. You can teach an old dog new tricks. Come on, Karen, pull out your phone. All right. Oh, it already did it. Cool. So if you look here, what you do is just go, if like you have the iPhone, go to your camera and point it at there. It will automatically pull up the little link in Safari, open this up, and you click on it. Look at that. So cool. We're going to print these out in the office too. So you can learn new things. And this is going to bring you to the EWG's website, and it's a specific page where they're talking about cleaners. This one is for cleaners, so you can test your cleaners at home. There's even a little section on here where you can search your cleaner. I think you can even take a picture of your label too, and it will kind of find it in a smart way. So really cool, a lot of great information on this website that you can peruse through. So you can check out your cleaners and see what's in there, and it will rate it just like in school from A to F. Obviously A meaning good, B meaning okay, and then the rest, yeah, not so good. Okay. So that's a good starting point to go there, and you can check out your cleaners at home. Just the short answer for this, if you don't want to make your own, they have a lot of great recipes on there and stuff like that, directions. If you don't want to make your own, you're not into that, 7th generation. Just remember that, 7th generation. They pretty much have everything from whether it's diapers to baby wipes to glass cleaner, toilet bowl cleaner, toilet paper, everything. So they're a great brand. Now, is it a little more expensive? Yes, but I've noticed in the last couple of years, because more people are buying it, they're becoming a bigger company. It is still good. All right, let's talk about cosmetics. Guys can talk about cosmetics, right? It's 2021. Okay. This was very interesting. I did not know all this. So they did this study. I'm just going to read this here. So there was a report called Heavy Metal Hazard, the Health Risks of Hidden Heavy Metals in Face Makeup. The Environmental Defense Group tested 49 different face makeup items, including 5 foundations, 4 concealers, 4 powders, 5 blushes and bronzers, 7 mascaras, 2 eyeliners, 14 eyeshadows, and 8 lipsticks or glosses. Their testing revealed serious heavy metal contamination in virtually all of the products. So listen to this. 96% of these conventional cosmetic products contain lead. 90% contain beryllium. 61% contain thallium. Now I looked up thallium. It's an odorless substance, odorless, tasteless substance that was used in the 19th and early 20th century by killers, by serial murderers, to subdue and incapacitate their victims by putting it in their body, similar to like chloroform, because it incapacitates a person's nervous system, basically puts them to sleep. But they tell you to like put that in a concealer and put it on your face. That's crazy, right? 51% contain cadmium, another heavy metal. And look at this, 20% contain arsenic. So arsenic blocks like what's called ATP in your body. So ATP is kind of like the energy currency of your body that your cells run on. So if you block those pathways that make energy, it's going to shut down your body. Like you can die from, consuming enough arsenic. So super toxic stuff. So again, Environmental Working Group on their website, they'll go through your cosmetics. But another great app that you can use is called Think Dirty. So you want to write that one down. Think Dirty. It's a free app. I believe you can scan and it will rate your cosmetics and tell you what some good alternatives are. In a word or two, Dr. Krista, she uses Crunchy, which is C-R-U-N-C-H-I, Crunchy. About twice a year, she does a Women's Day at the office where she kind of showcases a lot of those products, but we have information at the office about that. Again, we're going to be sending out an email after text alerts and everything like that, so you get more information. But it's called Crunchy. Another one is called Beauty Counter. Beauty Counter is a good one. Okay, we're gonna do another QR code. You guys ready? Get your phones out. Oh, this was it. Oh, I skipped ahead. Here's your cosmetics. I'm gonna do it. It's kind of fun. Look at that, it worked. So you can take a picture of that QR code and you can check out your cosmetics on the Environmental Working Group website. Practical stuff. All right, next. Oh man, funny story. We were in chiropractic college in a nutrition class. I was a few semesters ahead of Dr. Krista, and we had just started dating, maybe a few weeks in. So you're supposed to really behave yourself, right? Be your best persona. And I learned about the dangers of Teflon, because that's when a lot of these documentaries were coming out and all the information about DuPont and how they hid out information. We were playing a movie, I believe it's still on Netflix. It's called Dark Waters, where basically DuPont, there's this polytetra, how do you even spell it? Polytetrafluoroethylene, PTFE, is the main kind of ingredient in Teflon. And they call it a forever chemical because it will stay in your body forever. And they found it because of DuPont, the practices that they've used for disposing and eliminating waste from their plants. They found it in virtually every part of the world. There was only like a few tribes like that are not connected to society in like Africa and parts of Asia that did not have it in their bloodstream. So it's in your body. If you live in North America, like it's in your body, it's horrible. And they knew about this and they covered it up. So what I did, learning about the dangers of Teflon, I went over to her house and she had this little pink, cute pan that she had that she would cook her eggs on. And I walked into her house. She's like, hey, how you doing? And I took her pan and I bent it in half and threw it in the garbage. Not the most emotionally intelligent thing that you can do, but I was saving her life, right? What I should have done was brought her another pan because I didn't do that. So if you're going to do that, if you're going to throw out your pans, buy some good ones. So Teflon, anytime you're hearing Teflon or nonstick, even disposable face masks. So like the blue ones, and I get it, like people wear masks and we have to wear them when you go different places. But if you are, don't get like those surgical, like those cheap ones that they just hand out by the dozen. Those contain PTFEs similar to Teflon. So they're called plasticizers, which can lead to shortness of breath, headaches, cough, chills, sore throat. You wouldn't believe the number of healthcare workers, especially teachers and children at school, from wearing a mask all day long. And they tell me all the time, they're like, I have headaches all day from wearing this mask. So I'll say, okay, well, I understand you have to wear it. Let's get an organic cotton one. So you can buy them pretty much anywhere, go on Amazon, wherever, type in organic cotton mask. And that's a great alternative than putting on that stuff that's putting, garbage into your body. So a couple options with this. We love the brand. It's called Caraway. So C-A-R-A, way, W-A-Y. And they're like really nice pans, beautiful ceramic. So you want to go with ceramic. They're like the good, if you have a birthday coming up or something, ask for Caraway pans. All right. Christmas. They're a little more expensive. They're about $400 for a full set, but they have like a lifetime guarantee. They last. They're really good. All right. Some more economical versions that we use. Copper. Copper is great. So copper contains like the diamond. I think they use either diamond or copper as like the coating, and ceramic is really good as well. And then the classic would be stainless steel and also cast iron. Now, cast iron, I tried using them. I really did. They're a little more difficult. Like you got to clean those babies right away, right? Like you ever get an egg try to do like scrambled eggs on a cast iron skillet? It can be difficult because like it's staying on there forever. Talk about forever chemicals. It's like that's a forever stain on the cast iron skillet, but they are good. So cast iron, stainless steel. Here's the other one to watch out for are these microplastics. So when you get like Tupperware And one thing I was really learning about is like, you go to certain coffee chains, I'm not going to name where, and they have the nice paper cup, which is fine. But what do they put on top? Plastic. And apparently the thinner the plastic, like the more bendy and malleable that it is, the worse that it is. It contains more of these. So I'm just going to read a little bit here. So microplastics can be found in many storage containers and, again, surgical masks. In one literature review, calculated the amount of plastic the average person consumes, researchers estimated the average person drinks just over 1,700 plastic particles from tap water every day, because this stuff's, it's everywhere. In the United States, 94.4% of all tap water samples contain plastic fibers. The Norwegian Institute of Public Health found that 90% of those tested from 2016 and 2017 had 8 different plasticizers in their urine. They're colorless, odorless chemicals, contain mostly of phthalates. So phthalates, PTHALATES. So the worst kind, when I was looking this up, worst type of plastics are black colored plastics. So if you see like a black top to a coffee cup, never drink out of those. Like plastic silverware or cutlery, don't use those. Another funny story, more gross. I had really hot soup. I forget where I got it from. It was from the cafeteria at school. And I left the plastic spoon in the hot soup. I was eating my food. Go back to eat it. I pulled out the plastic spoon. The end of the spoon was gone. It was all melted in the soup. And back then, I probably ate that thing too, because I was, starving student. But you don't want to do that. So again, you get, because here's where you're exposed to this, right? We're getting a lot of to-go food, things like that. It's delivered to your house. It's all wrapped in plastic. Simplest way is take it out, put it on plates, use your normal silverware. I know it's a pain because of the glasses and everything like that, where you get a coffee, put it in, ask them to fill it up with your thermos, with your stainless steel thermos. Just like little things like that do make a difference. Okay, so simple ways to do this. Glassware, you can get bamboo tops, because I was still using like the plastic ones. And I'm like, I'm going to change to bamboo now. So there's something I learned, and I'm going to get that. So another one is avoiding plastic wrap and containers like saran wrap. That's, again, the bendy type of plastic stuff. You want to avoid that. Even avoiding traditional tin foil. There are healthier brands out there. Again, 7th generation has like the good versions of this stuff that still work and are, somewhat easy to use. Here's a funny one. Avoid frequently dusting and vacuuming your house. Oh, good. There's something I'm doing right. I think the point of that is that when you're bringing up those chemicals, make sure that you're changing out the filters in your vacuum. Make sure that you're keeping that clean, because when you're pulling that stuff out, you don't want that just blowing all over your house. Reusable grocery bags. I guess you can use them when you take the dog for a walk or something like that, but that's about all they're good for. You don't want to be putting your food directly in plastic. So that's where, having your own grocery bags or a linen bag would be a good item. All right, here's something I'm passionate about is water. I love to drink water. If you see me at the office, it's like every 5 minutes. I'm sipping. And it's important the quality that you get that goes in your body and also on your body. So here's a couple fun facts. Do you know that a 15-minute shower is equivalent to drinking 8 glasses of toxic tap water? So for example, many of you may use like a Brita filter or a zero filter or the Berkey, or you have reverse osmosis and things like that. You go in the shower, and especially a hot shower, the chlorine and the fluoride and the different things that are in there start to steam up, and that goes in your nostrils, it goes in your body, into your lungs. So tap water, brushing our teeth, washing our hands, showering. The EPA found that tap water contains over 84,000 chemicals, including pesticides, chlorine, volatile organic compounds, and even medications. So when people are taking aspirin or Advil, birth control pills, estrogen supplements, progesterone, they go to the bathroom. That's eliminated through their urine. That goes through public health plants, and they do, their job with filtering it, but it's not getting everything. And that's going into the water supply. And an interesting fact, you can look this up in Florida, because when reptiles and amphibians are exposed to estrogens and forms of progesterone, they can change their sex. So they were finding that a lot of alligators were changing from male to female based on the amount of estrogen that was getting into the water supply and in the Everglades from seepage. So look that up, very interesting. So here's what you can do. The best thing that you can do, it would be to get a whole house filtration system. In this area, and they service everywhere in Pennsylvania, it's called Martin Water and Conditioning. Martin Water and Conditioning. Now they can set you up with like the big one for the whole house. They can set you up with a reverse osmosis system. Reverse osmosis is like the gold standard. That's going to take out all the total dissolved solids. That's going to take out the fluoride. It's going to take out the chlorine. It's going to take out the lead and the cadmium and all those heavy metals. So just remember Martin Water Conditioning. Now, some of you may say, well, I live in an apartment or I live in a condo. I can't just go and, start messing with all the plumbing here. A great option would be zero water pitcher. So think of it like the Brita that goes on the countertop, but it's called zero. And it brings the total dissolved solids in the water to zero. That's why it's called that. It really works well. We use that, and we still use that when we travel. Like we'll bring a zero, like a portable zero filter with us to the hotel or wherever we're going. So at least we have clean drinking water. Here's another great tip that you'll enjoy because it's good for your hair and your face and your skin, is getting if you're not getting like the whole house filtration, at least get a chlorine filter for your shower head. This is especially important if you have children and they're taking warm baths. We make sure to run the water from the shower head that we had to fill up the tub. Yes, it takes a little longer. I just have to make sure when we're running a bath, I just go up like 10 or 15 minutes early and start running the shower to fill up the tub. So you can get those pretty much you can get them at Lowe's, Home Depot, local hardware stores. So they're called chlorine filters. You change them out about every 6 months and you'll notice a difference. You'll notice a difference in your hair. You'll notice a difference in your skin, much softer feel to the water. Another one to watch out for is the salt that you use. Just make sure you're using a more of like a natural salt. I think we were using Morton's. Like most of them are actually pretty good when I looked into it, but some of them contain different preservatives and things like that in the water softener salt that you're using in your house. Like just don't get the cheap stuff. Make sure you're reading the ingredients. Like it should just be the sodium chloride or whatever, magnesium chloride, whatever the constituents are of that. Just make sure there's no additives and preservatives and things like that. So this is an example. This kind of looks like a whole house filtration system. They usually put it down in your basement, right where the water comes in from the town or the borough, and it just hooks onto that. So again, Martin Water and Conditioning. They're great people to work with, local. They're right in Akron, Pennsylvania. I'm not going to spend too much time on food because this is one we kind of know, but just a couple things to hone down on. Monosodium glutamate, MSG. Like you think MSG, you think of like Chinese food, something like that. It's used to enhance flavor. It's not good. It can people deal with migraines from that, headaches, nauseousness, vomiting. I mean, it's just not good for your body. So limiting foods that would contain MSG. And if the food has MSG in it or would have it in it, it's not something you should be eating in the first place. So think fast food, think Asian restaurants, MSG. All right, aspartame, here's something I learned. Aspartame is processed in the body and turned into formaldehyde. Formaldehyde is known as the embalming agent, which is not good to be in your body because it's a mega preservative that's going to put a lot of tax on your liver. So aspartame, that's commonly found in anything diet. So diet soda, like diet iced tea. Anything that says diet or sugar-free, watch out because you're like, oh, this doesn't contain sugar. So you go to like, I don't know, a local big box store coffee shop and you get aspartame-filled pumpkin spice coffee, not good for you. Nitrates, so commonly found in preserved meats, whether that's certain turkey bacons or regular bacon, lunch meats. You can get a lot of good options there. A brand that we love is called Applegate Farms that do not contain nitrates. Very hard on your pancreas, and it can even lead to forms of diabetes if your pancreas is affected a lot with the nitrates and pancreatic cancer. Food colorings. So even vitamins and supplements contain a lot of colorings. Our brand doesn't, but I'll talk about that in a minute. Other options or other things that contain colorings would be some obvious things: pastries, cakes, desserts, ice creams. One that I was almost heartbroken because we used to go to, I'm not supposed to say the names, the local frozen yogurt places. So you think frozen yogurt is good for you. Oh, it's sugar-free. Oh, it tastes really good. Yeah, it's full of, when you actually read the ingredients, it's full of garbage. It's full of colorings. It's full of aspartame. It's, yeah, not good. Refined oils. Refined oils would be like canola oil, vegetable oils. You want to go more to natural oils, would be like coconut oil, olive oil, grapeseed oil is good. Basically, when you think about this, just think food made by man, food made by God. Is the food I'm putting in my body, is this made by man or made by God? So if something's in a little pink pack or blue pack or yellow pack, that's food made by man. If it's something like canola oil or avocado oil or coconut oil, like natural food substances, that's something that is made by God. Regenerative farming. This is something that's a cool topic, kind of a new branch of farming. And it was kind of like what was old is now new again. Crop rotation, remineralizing the soils, adding in probiotics to the soils. These are all practices that farmers are starting to go back to based on consumer demand. People want to have food that's not laden with pesticides, and people want to have food that was in soil that was actually healthy. So when they spray things like pesticides or fungicides or herbicides, not only does it kill the bugs on the food, but it kills the bugs that's in the ground. So then you're killing a lot of those good bacteria. You're killing a lot of the good fungus. You're killing a lot of those good bugs that are helping to make that food healthy. The other thing that it does is that it lowers the nutrient content in the soil. So lowering things like potassium and magnesium, calcium. And what happens is that we're eating food that is not as nutrient dense. You know, I used to be of the school of thought of that you can get all your nutrients from food. But now it's almost impossible because our food supply is so diminished in nutritional content that we're not getting the appropriate amount of nutrients. That's why supplementation is so important, but it's also important to get the right kind. The other thing this creates, the offshoots of farming, the offshoots of, you know, chemical or the local municipal waste, it creates what's called toxic accumulation. So I'm just going to read this example. So imagine a very small fish is consuming toxins from the water they're living in. So imagine this area here, there's fish living there. It might not be a high amount if they're like wild caught in clean water, but a bigger fish will eat the smaller fish. Then another fish will eat that fish, and an even bigger fish will eat the previous fish. Toxins from the small fish get passed on to the bigger fish, plus the toxins from the fish before. You see where I'm getting at is that it's adding up sequentially. And who's at the top of the food chain? It's you sitting at your kitchen table eating some kind of farm-raised salmon or, you know, whatever, and that's bioaccumulating in your body. So ideally, we want to go for wild-caught fish, wild-caught cod and halibut, wild-caught salmon, organic grass-fed beef, chicken, organic chicken, you know, turkey bacon that doesn't have the nitrates and the nitrites in it. We have all kinds of lists of farms. We have grocery lists in the area of where to find this stuff. And it's pretty, you know, readily available now. So here's what we can do is that, you know, hearing this and, you know, obviously the people listening to this, you're doing a lot of great things for your health. And I might not be speaking to some of you right now because you know this stuff, but when we're trying to do a net positive for our health, we're sometimes doing a net negative. So when we go to these big box stores and we're buying, you know, the 2000 pack of B complex or B12 or men's multivitamins and all this kind of stuff that costs like $2, when they contain these different ingredients that I'm going to talk about, it actually does net harm to the body. Not only is that vitamin, like all these studies have come out where like these cheap vitamins, what they say is in there is not even in there in the appropriate quantities. And not only that, but there's so many binders and fillers, even sugar, food colorings, aspartame, artificial sweeteners, that you're actually hurting your body as you're doing that. So right away, I'm going to teach you here what to look for in a supplement. So the first thing is, like, I would say brand recognition, which I'll talk about on the next slide. Brand recognition is number one, is knowing the brand that you're getting, knowing the standards that they've set out, and knowing the people behind the movement of that brand. Second one is when you read, you're reading how much vitamin A and vitamin D and all that stuff, go down to where it says other ingredients. So if you look at your supplements today, look where it says other ingredients and focus on that. Because you can see things like aspartame, which is, again, poison, food colorings. If you see things that say binders and fillers, some of the vitamins even contain, it says cellulose, which when you look up where it's from, it's wood chips. So they're putting wood chips in these cheap vitamins, and that's what people are getting. I'm like, geez, you could just go to the construction site or go pick up some mulch from outside and you get it for free, right? All right. So right away, no artificial flavors, colors, or additives. Very simple. This main point is brand recognition. So I can speak of a few different brands that are great. We use typically 3 main ones, maybe 4. Max Living, obviously I'm biased to that because that's what we sell, that's what we use at our office. Garden of Life is really good. Designs for Health. And the other one is called Mega Foods. So Max Living, Designs for Health, Garden of Life, and Mega Foods. So if you look at this, like the plant, they always say like this supplement is not approved by the FDA, but the plant that it's made in should be FDA registered. I know I'm not like a huge fan of FDA and all that kind of stuff, but there should be some kind of regulation there, obviously, with what they're making and what they're claiming. GMP certified, what that means is that what they're saying that's on the label, that's been certified through this company GMP, where they're actually saying, okay, what they're saying is what is actually in there. So it's been independently tested. So the Max Living supplements, they're 100% genetically modified free, they're gluten free, and the purity is guaranteed. So one of the best supplements that would fit into this topic would be getting on some kind of detox. So antioxidants, super important to take. So the detox system, there's 2 parts to it. First part is the cell detox. The second part you take that in the morning. The second stage to it is the body detox. So the cell detox contains antioxidants, probiotics, and also with prebiotics. So that's feeding the good gut bacteria. It also contains glycine and cysteine, which are the building blocks to make what's called glutathione. Glutathione is an amino acid combination that your liver uses, acts as a scrub brush to get all the toxins out of your cells and into your bloodstream. All right, the second thing that you do at night, it's called the body detox, and that contains activated charcoal, like you'll see the capsules are black, activated charcoal, milk thistle, and magnesium oxide. So magnesium, and these are great supplements to have just on their own. Activated charcoal, first of all, if you get some, make sure that the activated charcoal that you get is from coconut. Coconut, not from wood, not from like pesticide-filled wood. You want it to be from coconut, and it will specifically say that. Activated charcoal, milk thistle is very good for your liver. And the other one, magnesium oxide, that helps to kind of flush things through. This is not a laxative by no means, but if you're having any issues with elimination or going to the bathroom, this does certainly help with that. Okay. We also, I'll talk about metabolic. So we do blood and urine testing at the office, and we're kind of revamping the program in the next couple of weeks. I actually have a meeting with Haley on Friday because they're releasing a new test. It's called Metabolics Plus, where it's going to be specifically testing your magnesium levels. It's going to test your calcium, your vitamin D. Like it's going to list it all on the sheet, like all of your minerals, to see what you're deficient in. So stay tuned. You can read this slide here. Basically what this means is that if you've been living the lifestyle, you're eating really well, you're exercising, you're taking the right supplements, and you're still dealing with some kind of like a digestive issue, a sleep issue, a toxicity issue, you're waking up in the night, your energy's off, something else could be going on. That's what metabolics is for, is where we're testing your blood and your urine. And it's kind of like taking an x-ray of your body on the inside of your physiology to see, okay, where could there be problems and how can we supplement the right kind of supplements, the right kind of dietary advice that's very specific to you. So again, you can see there, you get a discount if you register in the next 2 weeks. I'll be honest, if you're interested in it, we're going to be unveiling the new testing in the next, I'd say 2 or 3 weeks. We're kind of going to do like a beta run, like I'm going to do it myself. We'll do it with the staff and things like that and see how it goes. And then we'll start unveiling it to patients. We can't talk about toxicity without mindset. So important. Oh man, I mean, just had a conversation with someone yesterday and they're like, they're doing everything right. They're just like, I'm eating well, I'm exercising. Like we've gone through all this stuff so many different times. But she's still just dealing with headaches, still just dealing with, sleepless nights. And I just said, where's your stress level at? I know she has a stressful job, and she's just like, not good. So stress plays a huge role in how it affects not only you, but other people. And it can create a stronghold in your life. Now, I've talked to other talks, like some obvious things, turning off the TV, turning off the news, turning off the radio, getting off social media. Those are all great steps that you can take to start to remove the toxic stuff from the outside. Is that you want to turn down kind of the noise out here first. But what I wanted to focus on tonight is getting in here and focusing on things that you can do for yourself to increase the good hormones that you want. So it says here on this slide, detox your mind. So we're going to use this can and dose. So what the vernacular I'm going to use is, are you in a can state of mind, or is this a can person, or are you being a dose person right now? So I'm going to go through this. So can, cortisol, adrenaline, and norepinephrine. Cortisol is a stress hormone. When it increases in your body, you're going to be agitated, you're going to be short-tempered, you're going to be not so nice to the people around you. It's going to wake you up at night. It's going to affect your hormones, your blood sugar, your insulin sensitivity, your blood pressure, so many different things. Now, in a short amount of time, it's okay for cortisol to be up. It's a natural response of the body. But over a long period of time, that's not good. Now, adrenaline and norepinephrine, and by the way, these are all made by the adrenal glands. So cortisol, adrenaline, norepinephrine, they're all made by the adrenal glands. So if you're pumping this stuff up, if you're under a lot of stress, you're going to move into what's called adrenal fatigue, which is not a good place to be. So adrenaline and norepinephrine, think of those like fight or flight. Blood is going to rush to your main muscle groups. Blood is going to swarm to your head. You're not going to be thinking clearly. Like if they sat you down to like write your name down, you wouldn't be able to. You're just fired up. So think of the person in your life that is a can person, the person who's very difficult to be around, that drains energy, that is negative, that anything you say is turned into a negative situation, that's always complaining. And I'll be honest, like I've been there like many times, like we've all been there. I get it. But if this is you, it's not good because people don't want to be around that person. Now, the best way to know if this is that type of person, if this person tries to call you and you see your name on your phone, if you think, you know what, I'm not going to take this call right now, that's how you know they're a can person. All right, let's go into, I see some of you laughing. Thank you. Let's move into dose. This is where you want to be. I think of dose and I think of Jesus, because think of Jesus just how confident, but also just meek I was talking to a pastor recently, and he was using the word meek. And the word meek means restrained strength or withheld strength. So it doesn't mean meekness, doesn't mean weakness at all. So think of, Easter is coming up. Think of Jesus on the cross. So in the blink of an eye, Jesus could turn everyone into dust, right? He could destroy the whole world, and he could have stopped everything that was going on. But he showed restrained strength. And obviously we're called to be like Jesus, although we're not going to be perfect like Jesus. But you could say that he was the ultimate dose person, which stands for dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. So dopamine is a wonderful hormone that's in your brain, and it's like your do it again hormone. Basically, when you hit a goal or you cross something off a list, that you get a good dopamine hit. Now, the negative side of dopamine would be like gambling or addiction or being on social media, something that's stimulating your mind. So do you ever you clean your house, or you cut your lawn, or you finish a task at work? Like my dad used to do this all the time. He would go out and cut the grass and spend like an hour or so doing it. Then he would go out on the porch and just stand there and look at the grass. I'd be like, what is he doing? And I'm like, why would you do that? And he's just like, he's enjoying the work that was done. He's getting a hit of dopamine. It feels good. I do the same thing if I vacuum before I try to get the lines just right. And then I look at it for a second before the kids destroy it. I'm like, hey, that looks good. That's dopamine. That's good. So the best way to get dopamine is you have a plan. You feel in control. You have an agenda. You're checking off things on your list. You're getting up in the morning and you have a plan for your day. You have a plan for your week. You know your schedule as much as possible. All right, oxytocin. Oxytocin is the love hormone. So sex, hugging, physical touch, that's going to release oxytocin with someone that you love. That's important. Holding a baby, there's no greater joy. Even our Jake is 18 months old, but even today, I was when I come home from the office, I'm a little I'm amped up, but I was rocking him to sleep, and it just completely brings me into a state of peace. Holding a baby. So even things like petting a dog, being around animals, being in nature, that's going to release oxytocin. Very important. One thing that I learned at church recently, our pastor said that women, if you give your husband a hug 3 times a day, he's going to live on average 3 years longer. Give your husband. So if you love your husband, give him a big hug, and he's going to live longer, because that's going to release oxytocin. Even if you don't like him, you still have to love him. Give him a hug. All right. Serotonin. Serotonin is basically your happy hormone. It's your calm hormone. It's also a confidence hormone. So when you put on your little black dress or the jeans that fit just right, or you ever notice you go on vacation and you only bring the same 2 or 3 pairs of clothes, set of clothes, the clothes that you feel the most comfortable and confident in? When you put those kind of clothes on, that increases your serotonin. So as an example, in school, and what I always tell students, if you go to study, put on nice clothes, or if you go to an interview, dress up, because it increases your confidence. You feel good about yourself. Serotonin helps you sleep well. It also helps your gut. 95% of it is made in your gut. So the food that you eat, I would say, has the most impact on the serotonin levels in your body. So some good ways to increase your serotonin would be to reduce sugar, eat good quality fats. Everyone, I think we all know tryptophan, which is found in turkey, walnuts, cashews. That increases your serotonin levels. There's different supplements that you can take to help with that. But ultimately, it's going to come from your actions, confidence, and things like that. All right, endorphins. So the rush of endorphins, different than adrenaline, is exercise. The right type of exercise. I mean, we've all been there. You haven't exercised in a while. It can affect your mindset. You have a really good high quality exercise, especially high intensity interval training. That's going to give you a rush of endorphins. So if you're making these steps, I hope you wrote some of them down. When you have a plan for your day or for your week, when you're scheduling alongside your spouse, when you're having sex and you're hugging and your physical touch, and you're wearing clothes that you feel good in, you're eating good quality foods, and you're exercising, you're going to become a dose person. And when you're a dose person, it's life-giving to other people. Because one of the biggest things that I learned from this is when you're in a can state of mind, who are you thinking about? You're thinking about yourself when you're in stress. When you're in dose, you immediately start to think of other people. And that's where you want to be. In our world, oh my goodness, there's a lot of people in can right now. And when you're making decisions for your life when you're in can, you're typically not going to make the right decisions because you're making them in a way that's not focused on the good. All right. We'll kind of wrap this up here in the next couple minutes. I want to just talk quickly about exercise. Sweating, super important to be able to sweat. We recommend an exercise called Max T3, which is high intensity interval training. It's going to get your heart rate up for a short period of time, and you're going to bring it down, and then you're going to bring it up again. Traditional, just like walking on the treadmill for 45 minutes or going for a walk around the block. I'm not saying those are not good, but you want to get yourself sweating and your heart rate up to release endorphins to help with your mindset. And then it also helps to detox as well. Now, here's the thing is you don't want to then put on things so if you're using deodorant as an example, never use antiperspirant. Antiperspirant contains aluminum, and aluminum blocks the pores under your underarms. So it prevents you from sweating. That's why it's called an antiperspirant. When you do that and your body's trying to sweat and it's not coming out, well, where does it go? One of the biggest detox channels in your body, the lymph nodes basically drain out into your armpits. So if your body's in a good state of health, you're not going to stink too much. But if you're not in a good state of health, you're going to smell more. So if someone is smelling really bad, has really bad body odor, it's not because what they're not putting under their underarms, the deodorant or the antiperspirant, it's what's going on the inside. So when you clean up the inside, it's going to change what goes on the outside. Now, remember, your health is about function. It's about your heart beating, your lungs breathing, your food digesting. God put an amazing healing power in your body. So the good news is that when you start to make these changes, your body will adapt and your body will heal. It may not happen overnight. It may not even happen in 2 weeks or a month. But when you keep making these healthy actions, oh, my chair's going down. I'm not that short, I swear. When you keep making these healthy actions, your body's going to start functioning better. And as a chiropractor, I obviously have to talk about the spine because for you to detox, for your lymph channels to flow, for your blood to flow, your heart to beat, your food to digest, it all connects to your spine. Guys, one of the best things that you can do outside of getting adjusted is keeping up with your spinal home care exercises to maintain. You can see the 3 curves in the spine. You have to have those curves in the spine. If you lose the curve in the neck, like it should be a nice curve in the neck like this, when you lose that curve, it stretches your spinal cord, it pinches the brainstem and pinches the nerves. You could take all the detox supplements in the world, all the essential oils in the world, use all the vinegar and cleaners and all that stuff. But if you have a pinched nerve in your neck affecting your hormones or your thyroid, it's not going to work as much. So these are some of the common signs that you have what's called subluxation or misalignment. Now, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but this is where I'm going to ask you to think about other people, whether it's your spouse, whether it's brother, sister, mother, father, kids. These are some of the most common symptoms that your nervous system is not in the proper alignment and there's pressure on it. And that can lead to dysfunction and disease over time. So just like headaches, migraines, blood pressure, constipation, sciatica, lower back pain, those are just a few of the most common symptoms that we see and we're able to help people with. Really cool story. I had a guy just today, he was the last person I adjusted. And I told him, like, I'm sharing this. I'm going to do a webinar right now. He's like, okay. His name's Mark. And he's like 25 years old, had a shoulder issue where he, last year playing softball, went to dive for a ball and his arm was out like this. And he like went up like this and really jammed his neck. Now he thought he hurt his shoulder because for the rest of the year, he couldn't even throw the ball. His shoulder was so bad. Was getting it checked out at physical therapy. They couldn't really find anything wrong. And when he came in here, I actually agreed with the physical therapist because I did all the muscle testing for his rotator cuff. I'm like, yeah, they're right. There's nothing wrong with your shoulder. And he's like, well, what am I doing here? I put my finger on his first rib. Your rib is actually right here, the first one in your body. And it was so elevated that I could touch it just by pushing it right here. And he's been coming just about 3 weeks now by adjusting his neck primarily. He said just yesterday he was able to throw a baseball the best he's ever thrown it in years. He just started playing softball again. So like just little changes like that. And it was so cool because I was like waiting for it because he goes, my wife was like, because his wife's been coming here. She was bugging me because I told her this and she's like, see, I told you. So here's the thing. If once you get your family members in, try to avoid saying, see, I told you, because, you know, it's not good. But he says, I honestly wish I did this years ago. So yeah, good stuff. Here are the resources that we have. We have a toxic ingredient list that we can send you. So it just contains all the ingredients I talked about tonight. You can walk this around the grocery store or, you know, to look at cleaners. Those are the ones you want to avoid. We have a healthy food swap list so that you can still enjoy the foods that you love, but made in a healthy way. So you can still enjoy things like ice cream or pizza. Not that you want to be eating that all the time. I know it's hard to see. I see everyone's going like this. The other one that we have here is our Safe Swap master list of cleaners, toothpaste, deodorants. I mean, you name it, we have it on there. Cosmetics, it's all there. So the good news is we've done the hard work for you. Even if you didn't write a lot of stuff down, we're going to send this to you. So what I'll ask, and we'll make sure to send it to everyone that's on the call. Oh, Haley's going to be mad at me. I didn't change this. That's okay. We can do it my way. All right. So here's your action steps. Start by picking one thing to detox your body in your home. So there's a principle, there's a book that I love and I recommend getting it. It's called The One Thing, where you can boil pretty much any goal that you have down into one singular step. So what I ask people is this: if you were only going to do one thing in the entire world to fix your marriage, what would it be? If you were only going to do one thing in the entire world to lose weight, one thing to be a better parent, one thing to be, you know, to detox your home, pick that one thing and just do that. It's like hitting the first domino in the line and the rest of it will fall. So that's step number one. I would suggest some easy ones is like pots and pans. If you have the Teflon coated pans, get rid of those right away. Order some of the good ones, go to Target or order the more expensive ones online, get those. Number two, we're going to be doing a 30-day lifestyle detox challenge. It's not really a challenge though. This one's kind of easy. You're just signing up for a texting campaign that we've put together, that Max Living's put together. So every day it's going to text you a healthy tip to do that you can basically take an action step on. So if you'd like to do that, text Spring Clean to our office number. So it's the same number that you get appointment reminders on. You can just go on your phone and text that. Or the next time you're in the office, just let us know and we can add you to that list. And every day for 30 days, it's just going to text you, hey, here's a tip for your day, for the day. Again, for these resources, you can pick them up at the office. We'll have physical copies, or you can text your email address to that number. So if you text the email address to our texting number, we can get those to you.